Hey everybody, this is Brett with Indie Comics Dispatch and broadcasting from an undisclosed location deep within the Milky Way galaxy. This is broadcast from the Dispatch.
If you got a story and you want the world to know it, if you think you ready and you ain't afraid to show it, throw your hands up high, yeah, we might stand out. We always representing cause that's what it's all about. We always representing cause that's what it's all about. And if you love some indie comics, let me hear you shout. Like, just stay tuned, what's the story? Had to get that every time a brand new indie comic from the Dispatch.
Good evening.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I think I'm good. We got a guest who just popped in backstage. Just for everybody who's kind of late to the party, guest wise, not really late, but maybe were there and then had to go. We'll get you on in just a minute. Just hang on there. I just didn't want anybody thinking we had forgotten about them and they're just stuck backstage. Sorry. We have a great show tonight. I feel like it's something that I've been watching for the past 2 years, and that's I'm gonna mess this up. Heruary. I can't do it. It's like something about that live button. Thank you. Something about that live button doesn't allow me to say it anymore. So
it's amazing. So what you guys don't know is he actually literally practiced that 2 or 3 times.
I did
before, and we even talked about it, and he still did it. Yeah.
I suck. It's something about the live. It goes away. All my ability to pronounce things. I'm looking down right now because I'm actually sharing the feed to various groups and on my profile. And so if you're out there watching, do give us some help and share the stream either to your profile or to various groups you may be in. Helps expose more people to the Dispatch, and that's just more people hopefully talking about indie comics. So Brian, what you got going on?
I was going to say, I feel like you should go first. I feel like you have the more important news and the more fulfilled life right
now. Well, kind of. So I'm within a little over a week, I'll be starting a new job, which I am so excited for. I'll actually be the editor-in-chief of a real magazine, not just Indie Comics Dispatch, not just a digital news platform, but a real magazine. Where I live in Atlanta, and so it's going to be really cool. I think it'll be really cool. The thing I haven't even told you about, though, that's kind of bumming me today is we're having some issues with Indie Comics Dispatch website with images and everything like that. So I got hopefully people working on that. Right now, none of our images from September 2020 through April 2021 are displaying. They're just gone. Really? So if we featured you and you go there and you don't see your images for your article, I'm really sorry about that. We don't really know what's going on.
Google, damn you, Google.
I know.
I'm blaming it on them. I don't know if it's their fault or not, but it is.
It is. It's their fault. What about you?
We're doing really, really well. We just had a Wingless Plus Day, which probably a lot of the followers and people who follow ICD know, which went off really well. And I think the highlight, or one of the highlights today, we have 2, in my opinion, 2 huge ones. The contest that's live now on Wingless, www.winglessent.com/contest. It's the Justice Number 3 contest. You name 16 heroes, drop your email, and you were entered to win like a Justice Funko Pop, which we have here, right? This is my little buddy here.
I love it.
Funko Pop. A t-shirt, some comics, a bunch of swag and stuff. So obviously if you guys are watching and you haven't entered, please go enter. It's a really fun contest and one of like many that we'll do in the future. The second thing is that we have Wingless Comics has acquired. I'm gonna say right? Because I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
Avery the Astonishing, through a joint publishing deal with Constant Hustle Comics. Wingless Comics will now be publishing Avery the Astonishing, and she is a canon part of our narrative and our world building and everything. So that's a huge piece. Obviously, people have seen Avery within the pages of Nightfall. So everything you see there, all the history that we've created in Nightfall is now canon to both comic universes.
I love that. That's so cool. That's so cool. And what people, going back to the Funko Pop for just a second, what people don't know is that you actually make those in your kitchen. You hand assemble those.
They were once a little bitty tiny ball of clay. It's like Gumby, but Funko Pop edition.
Okay, that's cool.
No, man. Cool. So I can't take credit, but I do have to say Yet Win, who's an amazing. He's a comedian and an artist, obviously. Is the man behind the Justice Funko Pop and the Justice action figure, and he just does a kick-ass job.
Yeah, Dan. Yeah, Brian's not exposing our viewership to random nudity in whichever movies he's watching back there.
I feel like our viewership went up when it was some titties on the back of the screen there.
It probably did. So tonight's one other thing I got to add. I'm really sorry. I'm way behind on posting the podcast version of this show because my schedule's just been so weird and I just keep forgetting. So I got to set a new reminder for myself to do that. So we'll get caught up if you listen to the podcast. Don't worry, we're still doing the podcast. I've been a little since COVID in particular. My brain has just been blah, and then starting a new job, even more blah, and we'll get back on it. All right, tonight's show. Say it for me again, Brian.
Oh, Heruary. I was Thank you. What? Which one?
That's just what we're going to do tonight. So we have Aaron Beatty was supposed to be here this evening. He had work stuff come up. We tried hard to pre-record an interview with him. Aaron is the founder, the idea behind Heruary.
Heruary?
Close enough.
It's to make you a sign. You just hold it up.
I know. And I practiced it. This is Aaron. We were fortunate enough to get an interview with Aaron not too long ago on IndieComicsDispatch.com. It was after April 2021, so his images are currently displaying. And Aaron says the idea for this all came from doing drawings based on Jake Parker's Inktober prompt list. He says he's worked with some of the Inktober prompts over the last few years and thought they were fun. The cues were generic but also challenging. The prompts reminded him of drawing exercises from some of his college professors, and he's seen other artists stay in the spirit of Inktober by creating separate prompt lists in the month of October. However, it occurred to him that there was a void that did not specifically celebrate Black comic book characters and their creations during Black History Month. So Aaron took it upon himself and created the prompt list Heruary. Was that it?
Yeah, we're just gonna go with it.
Okay. So he gets the prompts from kind of his own sources of things that he's fans of, plus submissions from fans of the page. So without Sently Universe on Instagram. Yes, Tuesdays is the new weekly time. And
Universe, they're actually really cool. They've hit me up a couple times. They're really great guys. So
I'm pretty sure they messaged wanting to know if they could be on the show sometime soon. And Brian and I have to have a deep dive into our new format together to see how things are going to work and stuff. We want to have as many people on as possible. We're not going to really do so many deep dive one-on-one interviews for like promoting Kickstarters and stuff. But if you have a Kickstarter and it certainly coincides with like a topical panel that we're doing, you can be on and plug your Kickstarter. So just FYI. Stacy Robinson, he's both on Facebook, it looks like, and Instagram. On Instagram, he says titties. Based on your screen behind you from other weeks. All right, we ready to introduce people?
Yeah, are you ready? That's what really actually needs to be asked.
I'm ready. I'm gonna start by introducing he dropped again, I think. Dang it. Okay, I'm going to introduce Kevin. We'll start with Kevin. Kevin Chapman, I've known of for a while now. Kevin is the comic book artist, writer, creator of Afro Avenger and The Movement. Kevin, speaking of which, has a current Kickstarter going on right now, and was part of the idea for doing this show. He messaged, said, "Hey, I got a Kickstarter, and can I do something?" I kind of told you the same thing, not doing so many one-on-one interviews, but I had this idea to do this, and you were part of the past prompt list. So welcome, Kevin. Tell us really quickly so we can get to everybody else about your Kickstarter you got going on.
Oh man, my Kickstarter. Thank you, first of all, for having me on. My Kickstarter is basically the movement. It's based about a group of superpower individuals who feel like that their powers are being mistreated and misused for government gain, and they decided want to come together and do something about it.
Nice. Well, we just dropped that link in the chat, so if you're out there watching, we'll drop it again later too for everybody.
Absolutely.
But check out Kevin's Kickstarter. I have his first book that he put out, Afro Avenger. It's a great read, and I'm looking forward to seeing the movement also.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Brian, you want to go next?
Yeah, so I know who you want to introduce, so I'm going to let you have that one. And
all right.
To William Anderson. He's a multidisciplined artist specializing in graphic design, illustration, web design, and penciling. He hails from DC by way of Maryland. His current creator-owned project is an action fantasy story called Karmic Agenda. William is the owner and president of Omni One Productions and a founding member of the Four Corners Art Collective. You can find more about him at https linktree/blackjag.
We'll drop that in the link section too.
How you doing?
Well, William, how you doing?
Yeah. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Welcome, sir. I'm going to drop your link in the comments too. Brad Arnie says, let's get a Justice Avery Afro Avenger crossover. Ooh, sounds like fun.
Right?
That might be more action than one comic book can handle.
Yeah, it's going to be like 200 pages, Brad. Like, come on, man.
I'm up to the challenge if you are. I'm going to just
Hey, listen, man. We're going to put in the work. Let's put in the work.
All right. I think he's back right now. Yes. All right. Keef Cross is a local Atlanta artist and retired tattooist. He used his years of experience as a tattoo artist to create, write, and illustrate his graphic novel series, Day Black. Keef, welcome.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hey, how are you? So I'm also outside of Atlanta. I work in Atlanta now, but what part of Atlanta are you in?
I'm on the west side,
okay,
off Cascade area,
Yeah,
kind of close to the city.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. All right. Well, welcome, sir. We're lucky to have you on the air tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Next, we have Shawn Alleyne. Is that right? Is it Alleyne or Alleyne?
Yeah, it's Alleyne, but whatever.
No, I want to get it right, man, because I make fun of Brett so much that I got to make sure I get everything right. So Shawn Alleyne is he's primarily a freelance artist, visual artist, but he also a writer, inker, teacher, and spoken word artist. Born and raised on the island of Barbados, he now resides in Philly, where he uses his gritty self-taught technique to produce artwork that fuses the elements of sci-fi and mythology with his Caribbean roots and love of hip-hop. He founded the art group Artmata, is a member of the Street Team Studios, and is a creator of the Zion Network. You can find more about him and his company, Pyroglyphic Studios, at Pyroglyphics1 and pyroglyphicstudio.com. I can personally say, man, I bought the Street Team books. I love them all. I got the game, but I don't have a PC. So getting it at the wrong time, and I was like, damn. But it looks beautiful, man. So big props to you, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. Big shout out to the whole Street Team crew. Definitely couldn't do it without them. And shout out to y'all. Thank you for having me. Shout out to the whole panel. And may I say, you have one of the coolest openings I've seen of a podcast. I might have to step my game up for the little IG show we're doing.
Well, thank you. We like to hear. We put a lot of thought and work into it, so it's nice when it pays off. All right, next up, Akinseye. Did I say it right?
Yes. Good evening. How you doing?
Yes. Good. Akinseye Brown is an artist, illustrator, and writer that uses African culture, science fiction, and fantasy to tell stories. After selling his first books, Sankofa. That's like more than 3 syllables, and I'm done. I'm so sorry.
You're almost there, though.
I know.
Landing.
Sankofa Faman?
Sankofa Man.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I added extra letters. That's what I do. And How to Draw African Superheroes Volume 1 and 2 at the East Coast Black Age of Comics Convention Incorporated. Brown later became the convention's event coordinator, which will be celebrating its 20th anniversary in Maine. Brown sells his own books, prints, and art through his company, Senkoya Productions, LLC, and we're going to drop that link in the chat, and continues to be dedicated to the mission of inspiring and educating through art and storytelling. Welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you for having me. Definitely looking forward to having a good conversation with all of you, and I'm definitely honored to be here. Thank you so much for having this platform.
Thank you. Well, we're here tonight to talk about Heruary, and then we're just going with that. And so each of you have either been.
If you don't mind, if I can step in really quickly, it's
yes.
Brother Aaron likes to pronounce it as Heruary.
Heruary. Okay.
It is a term that is coined after one of the Kemetic spirits, if you will, I guess, or Neteru, or gods, if you want to call them. Heru. In Europe, they would call him Horus, but in the African sphere, they would call him Heru. So the name Heruary is a play on words from February and Heruary.
Yeah.
Heru.
Very good. Thank you for that. All right. So
before break gets started, I'm going to do this all friggin' night because I find it hilarious. Speaking of Ekbak, are the glyphs coming back?
Yeah. The glyphs aren't necessarily gone. One day we'll be able to make a very open and public conversation or announcement or statement about how this whole pandemic, COVID-19 has affected various organizations and initiatives, and especially ones that are, that are reliant on people power, not necessarily money. With people needing to get together and do things, sometimes things go awry. But neither here nor there. The glyphs are still here. We are working on our next row of voting and judging. So definitely stay tuned to that. So the glyphs are still here. We're just a little bit behind, and we do apologize greatly for that. But we're here.
That's good to know. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Very good. So let's talk Heruary and the importance of having an all-black hero prompt list. So a little bit of background on me. 5 of my children are black, and so part of my comic book collecting has been to find heroes in comic books that represent my children, not just me. And so Heruary, the list about 2 years ago was just phenomenal for me because it opened me to 28 different heroes that I had never heard of. And so for me as a consumer of comics, it was a real game changer, and I look forward to every year Aaron putting out that list so I can find more. What about for you guys as being featured or as black artists? What does it mean to have a prompt list that is all black heroes during Black History Month? Even anybody jump in?
Well, I know for me, when I first saw it, I was really shocked at how many heroes were out there. You know what I'm saying? Like how many people were actually out there creating. Because thank goodness for social media. If not, a lot of people still would be going unheard. But it's like you have a hand. Like I know personally, before the list came out, I think it was maybe about 10 creators that I knew of. But then I'm sorry.
I don't know where that jump came from.
Okay, yeah. So when I saw the list and just saw so many people, that was inspiring, and just the fact that giving other creators a chance to kind of put their own spin on those characters, I thought promoted collaboration and unity within the community. You know what I'm saying? So artists can kind of be in our shells and introverted sometimes. So I think that was a great way and a great tool to kind of get some unity going on.
Yeah, the thing that I really enjoyed about, or I still enjoy about this initiative, Heruary, is it allows people to celebrate themselves. And I think that's the greatest power any collective group community can have, to be able to celebrate yourselves. You were mentioning, Brian, about the Glyph Award. And not to dovetail back into that, but that's just another example of celebrating yourself and how much that is needed within various spheres. You you can go to any business, any group, you definitely have awards, and you definitely have instances of celebrating yourself. So this is just, an annual celebration that I look forward to every year. And Shawn and I joke about this all the time. We don't want this to ever end. So our participation is and our enthusiasm is always going to be very strong for this.
Yeah, that to echo what was said is it's not just cool that is black heroes. I use the word Nubian, so if you hear me say Nubian, you'll know I mean black. But it's not just about the some of the more well known ones, but just to encounter so many indie characters that are where the creators are operating on such a high level. That's another thing too, because I think like a lot of times you mentioned indie and people kind of snub their nose and it's like, ew, indie, oh, that's gotta be trash. And then you see some of these guys like killing it, doing superb stories. So it's inspirational. That's another part of it too. It's like it makes me want to step it up. And seeing some of the work that the participants then put out, me and Akinseye, we were like, oh man, we got to make sure we on our top. You know what I mean? We got to make sure we doing what we supposed to do to really, celebrate that level of skill.
I think to back off of what Keith said, it's about the characters out there. There are so many characters out there that I've never heard of before, and it's been an eye-opening experience to really do research and see what's out there and expand upon so many things, so many places that are characters I've never seen before, never heard before, and getting a chance to put my own spin on it has been a ball. It's like a refreshing joy to just to move away from my own work or move away for commission work or anything and just focus on those for a while. It has been just amazing. And like Shawn Alleyne said, it's stepping your game up because you wanted to display these characters who've brought joy to millions across over however long they've been out, and bring your best work. So getting to do that every day and in February every year, it's been a joy. It's like, okay, what can I do now? How can I step this up? I mean, I really started, just doing a really quick sketch, and then I've noticed like, oh my God, I can do better than this. And right there, I did color. Like, okay, I got to keep moving, keep stepping it up. So it's been a journey, and that's helped me along with my own stuff. So it's all been about stepping your game up and giving credence to those who come before it and those who are still doing it.
I mean, to piggyback off of what everybody else said, man, I'm honestly probably like the only fanboy still, when I see my work getting like, redrawn, I guess, because I still see myself as a novice artist who still, has to learn and still has a learning curve. And, even like, pushing, 11 books now, it's kind of like, it's still humbling to like, see your name get put on the prompt list. Cause I remember when I asked to, be on the prompt list after I saw it the first time and it didn't like go through. And I was like, man, that's dope. I'm going to get on there next year. And so to see my name on there the very next year, I was kind of like, this is nervous now, man. Cause they, people don't know who Afro Avenger is. They might skip right over me. Like, so, so they, you might get one picture from somebody like, Black Jag, who follows me on Instagram is like, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? So, but just to be on there and, to see like that, the growth of it from the start. And then, like everybody said, the connection to everybody else. Cause like, I can personally say after the prompt list, I purchased, how to draw Black superheroes. I looked up Keef Cross. I looked up, Shawn Alleyne. I've been following Street Team for years. So like, it's a great process to like, keep our community as indie artists, Black or whoever indie artists growing and, making bigger.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to just I'm sorry, Brian, real quick. We lost the Instagram feed. So if anybody, they're not going to hear this. Instagram's always one of those tenuous things to keep going with everything else. So we lost that. Sorry. If you watch this later, switch to Facebook or YouTube from the beginning next time.
Wow.
And go ahead.
You're learning internet again. No, I think that also the entire movement itself becomes a mainstream movement. And I don't mean mainstream as in like the big two, but I mean mainstream as in streamlining all of the indie properties that are there. And I think that that's a big thing for because it creates like a synergy. You know what I mean? Like people only know something is as big as it is once is as big as it is. And so having these indie names and a prompt list that, like it said, it stemmed out of, Inktober, and having a compendium and a companion to Inktober that's wholly ours has a lot of depth, and it adds a lot of like a lot of energy behind the movement itself, which is pretty dope.
Definitely. Brian, I know you probably have a follow up here in just a second, but Brian, to any of the newer creators, really, I mean, Heruary has had comic characters that have appeared as far back as 1965 with Lobo from Dell Comics. I mean, that's just establishing its own legacy. That, like, I mean, you know, each year only 28 heroes can get featured, and there's such a depth of heroes that can be featured. So for you who are creators, that your creation has been featured. And Brian, you included, because Justice is on this year's list. What does that feel like to be included along with people like Brother Man and Lobo from Dell Comics, and just some of these titans in the Black comic movement?
I think when you're okay, so when I started out, I actually started out probably the same year that Heruary really got going. So me being me, like that first year, I wanted to see my name on the prompt list, even though I knew nobody knew me. So I felt like Kevin, that like, okay, I got to wait a year and really like gain my steam. Character is, and on and on and on and on. So seeing the character featured this year was actually really dope. It's a really big thing. Obviously, it grows the community. I love seeing all the characters there. I wish I could draw better. I'm doing some coloring this year of some of the other people's, you know, sketches and illustrations, because again, it's one of those things that I don't really think that you can put like a price tag on. It's not. It's like I don't know, man. It's initiation into a brotherhood, into another group of recognized, you know, Black excellence artists, creators, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's so, you know, it's dope to be. Look, I didn't think I'd be on a panel with Keef Cross, right? Like, I've read Day Black, you know what I mean? I've seen his stuff with you know what I mean? Like, I know Greg, so like I know his stuff, but like, when are we going to talk? You know what I mean? Like, when do you think that kind of thing is going to happen? And it's so dope when it does. And this is the reason that it's brought together. It's not because of anything else. So just bringing the whole community together is a really, really dope thing. And seeing other people thrive and shine and feel the same way you do about the process. Again, you can't put a price on that.
I'm glad I'm on the panel with Keef Cross too.
I mean, I think we all are, man. I think we all are. Me personally, like, I mean, like, I'm still fanboying and just, you know, being here in general, because, like, you know, like Brian says, like, when am I going to ever have this conversation with this panel? So it's like to be here at this moment, to kind of like be recognized and get my name up. Like, I still get humbled. Like, it's not even like hilarious to me, like, how humbled I get from, like, you know, people that still want to purchase a, you know, copy of Afro Avenger, or say, hey man, I like your stuff. Like, okay, like, thank you. Like, thank you. And I, you know, it's an honor to be here, and hopefully to continue to grow further, you know, as just independent community as a whole.
Absolutely. And just like what y'all was saying, just like everybody's like, I'm happy to be on a panel with Keef Cross. It's like me, I'm like, when I finally stick my head up and hear hear stuff like that, I'm like, it just, I don't know. And it goes to show with the prompt list, man. It's like, you never know who's out there checking for you. You never know who's out there really a big fan of you until you really can connect with those people. And when you get that love from other creators, it's like getting love from everybody is cool, but getting love from your people, from your creators, of people that do it with you, that respect what you do, that's just a whole other type of fuel. You know what I'm saying? So, and, you know, and for people to show love like that is just, and everybody don't do that, and all industries and fields don't do that, you know. So whenever that happens in any field, that's a great thing. So, yeah.
I want to pop, since we were just kind of talking about this, pop this question up from Brad. Which independent organization do you feel inspired the Black common movement the most? And Neo was probably the one for me.
He said which company, or you said comment, or
he said which organization, but I think you could take it anywhere. Where obviously, I think one of the first, I think the first solo Black comic character was Evan from Larry Fuller, that had his own series.
For me, I can't speak for everybody else, because I think it was like the first one where I kind of saw, it was like, well, I found out that they was like doing things on their own, and like how I didn't realize how big it was until I became the adult, was Brother Man.
Mm-hmm.
I think like just, real, like when I was like, I heard it as a kid, you know what I'm saying? I think like not even being funny, like the first thing I heard about Brother Man was like a joke in Blank Man. And so like as an adult, kind of like referencing back to that and then figure out like who Brother Man really was, it's kind of like, yeah, we gotta put some respect on that man's name. Like that's just like, facts.
Mm-hmm.
I am here because of that book. I started out as a comic book collector, and I was always doing art, so it was love there. But I was doing dabbling in superheroes and Teenage Mutant Turtles and Street Fighter for a long time. But my dad was able to get a hold of original Brother Man comics back in, I think it was '94.
Mm-hmm.
So when my dad brought those home and said this was done by a black man, I was like, what? Because back then there was no internet really. You didn't see faces of the creators, so you didn't know anything about these people. So when he told me that, I was like, wow, there are people like me doing this. So that was the impetus for me jumping on board and really taking it seriously. And that's what moved me into the direction I am now. Those 10 books, I still to this day have them, under lock and key. And I got to meet him at Ekbach. I want to say 6 or 7 years ago for that. But yeah, getting to meet him, it was an honor. That's the book that did it for me.
Stacey says that we collected them into trades. He did, but the trades are even more expensive than the individual issues. If you can find a trade, they're expensive.
Right.
I know for me it was well, I'm going to take two stabs at it. It was Tribe, the Tribe comic book for me was very influential in spotlighting Nubian characters for me. I remember, I grew up in Barbados, and comic books were there was a rarity. We had like one comic book store that I know about on the island, and even back then it was expensive. And but I remember getting that Tribe comic book. Oh, with the all black cover and the gold stamp. What? And then finding out that the creators were Nubian people too, and all the characters were, and then the way they look, and let's not forget Rosalind. So the Tribe comic book blew my mind. I just was a fan of Larry Stroman's since his X Factor days and stuff, and then to see him, these guys doing their own book, it was like I was floored as a young kid. I was like, man, this is incredible. This is what I want to do. So Tribe was big for me as far as the comic book, and I got to give credit to Atback for being one of the organizations for me to put Nubian creators on the map, and just to me highlight this whole culture and this movement. This was back in 2006, and I was working a regular 9-to-5 job. I was working in this cafe, and my coworker, shout out to Alex Smith, amazing writer. Y'all gotta check him out. Alex Smith, he brought in a flyer for the Atback. I think it was the 6th annual convention, and I said, "How the hell has there been a comic book convention for Black people for 6 years in Philadelphia, and I never knew about it?" And I called the number on the bottom of the flyer, and a brother by the name of Maurice Waters answered. And I said, "Listen, you don't know me, but I want to work with y'all. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. I need to be a part of this." And shout out to Maurice, man. He brought me into the movement, took me on his wing. That's how I first met Akinseye. That's where I first met the Honorable Yumi Odom. And they changed my life. They are literally the reason that I am the man and the artist I am today. They were the first to challenge me directly. At that time, I was drawing mostly Caucasian and Asian characters, because that's all I grew up seeing, and that's all I figured I had to draw. And they openly and indirectly, they were like, "Shawn, your art is nice, but where's the Black people?" I said, "The what?" And I went home and had like this whole change all of my characters, you know what I mean? Like flipped off all my stories. and just was like, this guy's from this place, and this guy's from Africa, and this person. It was like, it blew my mind. And then indirectly, they were just putting out good stuff. They were just making comic books and stories that reflected them and their culture. And I was like, I need to be a part of this. So yes, shout out to At Bat.
Yeah, I guess I'll find my way into that conversation as well. I guess to the question about movement organization, I guess I would have to say Ekbach as well. I forget what year I was truly introduced to the convention on Temple's campus. I know I forget how I found out about it, but I found my way actually to the convention at the very last minute. So as soon as I walked in the doors, they had maybe like 20 minutes left, and I'm like, what? I just met. Wait, can I get? Trying to get a card, trying to get a flyer, trying to get a book, and it was like no haps. Everybody was packing things away, so it was really tough for me just to kind of finally meet, or rather, I finally realized that, like Shawn said, that this environment actually existed, and then having to wait a whole nother year before I can even reconnect with that kind of energy again. But I think the thing that, I mean, I can shout out books. I can shout out Tribe. I can shout out Brother Man. I was in college then, and I remember seeing that. And it's so funny, people saw that, and like people like that were in my small friend circle. They would say, "Oh, did you do something?" I'm like, "Did I do something?" Like, what book are you talking about? And so I looked at it and I was like, "Nah, I didn't do that. This is too good, too good." And so a day came about when I was in New York. I was going to school in New York, and anybody remember the Black Expos? They used to travel the country. Yeah. Yeah. So lo and behold, the Black Expo was at Jacob Javits, and I found out that Brother Man was going to be there, and I didn't know him. I just knew that he was going to be selling his work there. So I scraped up my portfolio, trying to be brave, and said, okay, I'm gonna show him my work, and this is it. This is gonna be it, because for me, back in the day, that was like, who's Stan Lee? This is David Sims. This is the man here. And so I mustered up the courage. I went to his table and showed him my work, told him who I was, and that I was a big fan. And we got to talking. And don't you know, it turned out that he grew up 1 block from my house.
Wow.
That's small world.
I said, what? It was crazy. And the crazy thing about it was, during their incubation stage of Brother Man, the foundation time of creating the Brother Man comic and doing the t-shirts, I was just at home in my bedroom drawing my characters, watching cartoons, watching TV. If I went 2 steps to the left from my barber, which I never did, I went to the barber and went home, If I went 2 steps to the left, I would have found him. But I wasn't that kind of kid. But so all that to say that, there's probably too many, stellar instances that kind of like, guided me towards this environment. But definitely the Sims brother with Brother Man, Ekbach in this organization, and just so much inspiration from other artists like Billy Graham that used to do the Black Panther books, in the 70s. That was, those were a big inspiration for me. You know what I used to do? I used to love comics and the artwork so much. You guys are going to scream, but I used to look at the panels as works of art themselves. So I would take a pair of scissors and I would cut each panel out and tape it to my bedroom wall. As if I had Jet magazines up there, right? I'm cutting out. I'm like, this panel is dope. I cut that. I'll put it there. This
Oh.
panel was awesome. So I don't know what comics I would have had by now, but that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
The way we all froze.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
Well, I know for me, it was the biggest indie books, at least, that influenced me were a few. The first one was Elfquest by Richard and Wendy Penny. I think when I first saw that as a kid, all I saw was black elves. And when I saw that, I was like, whoa, like, what's this? You know? So, and my mom was with it just because she was like, okay, he wants to read and everything. Little did she know what was going on in that book. It was a pretty wild book for a kid. But she was like, it's called Elfquest, so it's elves, and you know, how bad could it be?
It's magical.
It's magical, you know, it's magical. So that was definitely highly influential in my storytelling. Brother Man, of course, like I was already a comic fan, but when I read Brother Man, when I first saw it, that's the first time I felt like I could do it myself. Like that's the first time I was like, okay, it's like I think that's the first comic I read and it felt familiar to me. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't feel like I was just on the outside looking in. It felt like, okay, I'm in this. Like I've been here before. I've heard these people talk before. And that showed me that you can write in a way for a certain audience, or you could write in a way that's comfortable or that's relatable to you and your culture. You know what I'm saying? So that was a huge eye opener. And to tie it back into Ekbak, like when I got there, my first time going, when I won a Glyph for Best Writer, Dawood was there, and just to get it in front of him, you know what I'm saying? Like just to get an award in front of him was so humbling, man. You know, so definitely Ekbak, and that was the first thing. And Ekbak is always going to be like hold a special place in my heart because when I did Day Black, you know, I never considered myself to be a writer. I just wrote it out of necessity because I had to get it done, and the writers that I was kind of dealing with, they weren't doing it how I wanted to do it. So I just had to do it myself. And for me to win a Best Writer fresh out the gate, you know, that was like the most inspiring thing that could have happened. And for me to keep going, you know, because I was always like, I'm an artist, but I got to write this. And then to get love on the writing tip, you know, that was incredible. And to get it in front of Dawood, like that was like, I was good. So Elfquest, Ekbak, definitely Brother Man, Ralph Bakshi, you know, Crumb, a lot of underground comics was huge influences on me. And because I've always loved comics, but I've always been more into the subculture, like the Martin Scorsese, Mean Streets aspect, Spike Lee, early Crooklyn, like those aesthetics. You know, Tarantino, I've always been more influenced by film than actual comics. So because I wanted to be a filmmaker, so I couldn't be a filmmaker at the time. So I just like, I'm gonna tell stories this way. So film has always been a huge part. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think Keef makes an excellent point about what we're able to create out of necessity. You know, many times, like Keef, many times we consider ourselves either a writer or artist or some other title that larger companies have created. You know, this is the inker, this is the penciler, this is the person that does the insurance papers. You know, this is somebody in HR. You know, when you have companies like ours, you know, you have to be all of that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's something, it's something sour about it, but then there's also something sweet about it. You know what I mean? It's when you find yourselves in those deep, darkest places where you think you have like nowhere to turn, does the tiger come out? You know, does the fighter come out and you say, you know what, I'm gonna find a way to do this. And I think, you know, if I may, I think that talks about the tenacity and the culture of African people, period, where we're used to, in certain locations, we're used to being some of the have-nots, if I can use that term, you know. And wanting to be a book producer, you most often find yourself at a crossroad at some point where you say, what, I can't just be the writer. I have to learn how to do something else because I can't pay any other artists or no one's, whatever it is. I'm not on the same page with somebody, so I have to learn how to do it, And so that may not necessarily be by accident. That could be by divine design. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even me as an artist, a number of years ago, and Shawn could be attested to this. A number of years ago, I had to stop saying I'm just an artist. I'm a storyteller. That's what I have to reside myself as being, a storyteller. That's it. And if I have to write one day, okay, I gotta write. If I gotta draw one day, okay, I gotta draw. If I gotta teach the next day, okay, I gotta teach with a story. Right?
Right.
If I have to help organize this event that has nothing to do with me and I'm not on the marquee, then that's who I have to be. I have to tell that story. And I think that becomes a part of the African narrative wherever we go. We have to find a way to win. And so we'll do whatever it takes in that category to do that.
And I think too. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I just said hip hop music.
But I was gonna say I had edited my bio a little bit, but usually what it says is that Shawn Alleyne is a creator. His main path is visual arts. But because I don't want to be just put into one box as just a penciler or just a comic book artist. Like I want to create stories, whatever form that takes, and I want to create whatever comes forth from me. You know what I mean? Whatever is gonna bring some kind of enjoyment for me. So like I got ideas on like designing clothes. You know what I mean? I might take a break one day and just do like a whole fashion line just because that's what I want to see. That's what I want to create. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got an idea for doing like a line of body products like soaps and oils and stuff based off of some of my characters just because that's what I want to create. You know what I mean? I want to go against the notion that we have to only be one thing in society. You know what I mean? We have to pick this one thing. And I know what they say, right? A jack of all trades and master of none, blah, 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 and all that. But, I don't feel like that has to be the case. I think sometimes what we end up doing is limiting yourself so much. And then that, you may, I don't want this to sound bad, but you may not still be a master of that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we can all speak here freely and say that we're all still trying to master our craft, right? So in the meantime, tell you what, I want to write. I'm going to try to master that too while I'm trying to master this artwork. You know what I mean? And I just don't want us to limit ourselves as Nubian people.
But, and to kind of go off of that, but in just, obviously you want to pat yourself on the back, but you got to keep working. But in the same time, like I literally just posted like a quote about this on my Facebook the other day, and it's for if you're an artist, dancer, writer, whatever, any type of creative, and you're trying to break through, and you know what I'm saying, and you're in a certain lane. It's okay to be in that lane, even though you want to outgrow that lane. And you want to be bigger. Obviously, you want your creation to be good enough so your family can eat good. But at the same time, it's like it is not our job to wake up people who've been sleeping on us. That's just straight facts. That's the road we got. That's the road we got to walk on, because when like Shawn said earlier, when people hear independent, it's kind of like, all right, bro, like what that mean? Like, they almost look at you like you're a dude, selling mixtapes out the trunk. Like, like it's funny looking. So, but it's like, so now you got to kind of like go harder just to prove people wrong. And it may sound a little egotistical. And in this world, sometimes ego do get in the way of a lot of things. But it's like, when you coming from a bunch of no's and you finally made your own yes, there's only one way but to go. That's forward.
The circle around back to the original question is one of the things I wanted to mention. Is because I keep seeing them pop up is a Black Superhero Museum was a major influence on as an artist. When that was about, that was like the spot. Let's be that was the spot for everyone. That's where you found out about so many different artists and so many different projects, and that's where I found about Ekbach and found out about like meetups at conventions. That was a major thing at the time, because like everybody had a forum, but that was where the Black people came together to just celebrate us and show off our artwork, and for us to talk about our issues, what we're doing, how we're getting discovered, and things like that. So that was one of the biggest influences at the time, because you came with your best work at that time. Everybody was helping out. There's no animosity. There's no cliquey groups like where there were other forums. But that was a major part of me at the time, growing through the artist I am. So that was a big piece for me too.
Shout out to Omar Bilal.
Wow.
Yes.
Brother Omar, man. And you know what? I'm not sure who else was, a part of helping him start it or whatever. So I don't want to slight anybody, but Omar was the face of it and who I knew to be the founder of it. That was where I met the Street Team crew. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I remember coming on, like that was soon. You know what? And I'll tell you how everything comes together, right? I found out about blacksuperhero.com through Maurice. So if I had never called that number for @back, spoke to Maurice put me down with so much stuff. He was like, yo, you ever heard about blacksuperhero.com? I said, no. He said, you need to post your artwork on there. I was like, I guess. At that time, back in those days, I didn't even know how to post work or nothing like that. You know what I mean? My stuff wasn't that great. But I went on there and I was blown away by all the talent. I was like, yo, I'm going to try a little something. I'm going to try to post something. And at the time, you had to post your artwork on I had to post it on like a third-party server and then post it on there. It's real complicated. But I wasn't knowledgeable how to like clean up my art and stuff. But the love, though, despite all of that, people were just like, yo, welcome. You know what I mean? Like your family reunion type of thing is like the barbecue is going. It's like, yo, man, you want to play? Oh, that's what's up. You don't know the person, but they just love you. It was amazing, man. Yeah, definitely. That was a beautiful time. Yeah, a lot of good stuff came from there.
Yeah.
I want to say real quick too, I would be remiss, and I think maybe all of us, I don't want to speak for everybody, but if we don't mention Milestone Media. Now, I'm not saying that put everybody on the map, right?
Come on, no.
Like, I feel like at one point or another, looking at it, at least it let me believe like, yo, you can actually do this too, because somebody else is. And not only is it Black people, but it's an entire Black universe. Now, I know the business aspects of it, things that happen later on, the relaunch, all that other stuff. But if we're talking about influential comics, especially in that 90s era, between Milestone and Image being like, yo, we'll publish anything, basically. It gave everybody kind of an in to say like, oh, no, just put it together. And you could potentially be here at one day or another. Also, Shawn, I want to say that I want to finish that quote for you, because it's jack of all trades, master of none is still better than a master of one. People never really finish that quote, right? Like they use the jack of all trades thing like it's a bad thing. And it's actually not. It's saying that like, no, you need to be diversified. And I think that, like you said, all of us having to do that at one time or another, for one reason or another, to take up another trade, to take up lettering, like Keef, to take up writing, to do these things, like that actually makes you more adept at switching and knowing good art and knowing good writing and all these things that are actually necessary as opposed to doing what you do inside of a vacuum, right? Where everybody's like, oh, you're the writer, and so like, oh yeah, it's great because that's all you do, and you don't really understand how to put the rest together.
Nice.
The way to go.
Yeah, shout out to Milestone, man. That was another one. And can I say, despite, I know that some people had the issues with it or whatever, to this day, one of my favorite comments on there, Blood Syndicate. I don't care what nobody says. That was my shit. And Shadow Cabinet. What? That was like some pre-authority type stuff. Shadow Cabinet was doing stuff way ahead of its time. And of course, Static, just incredible stuff, man. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm glad people said
We
that. You said that.
we just found ourselves like kind of Andre 3000 milestone a little bit there because we named all these inspirations, and then as soon as Brian said milestone, we all was like, oh yeah, of course. Like when you talk
It's
about
like
best
almost a given,
rappers,
right?
yeah, like when you talk about best rappers and somebody say, oh, Andre 3000, you go, oh, of course. But
Right.
yeah, definitely milestone.
Yeah.
That must be an Atlanta thing.
Oh, so, yeah, sorry.
Oh, disrespect. Ooh.
No, I know this is all about peace and positivity and stuff like that. You know, I think he's nice. But,
Teach his own.
Cannabis? Nobody? Cannabis? Anybody? No love?
Cannabis.
Not now, not right now. No.
Don't do that.
Then definitely.
Oh, okay. You know what? We're gonna let them run this show. We're gonna let them run this show. Then we're gonna start our own panel about this cannabis, y'all.
So, as we kind of wrap up, because we're getting obviously close to the end, because we've had a great conversation. What do you guys look for when you read other creators' work, right? Because that's a big part of what we do too. Being, like Kevin has said a couple times, like being humble enough to recognize like where you are, your place, continuing to learn, on and on and on. So, what do you look for when you look at other people's writing? Since you're in this creative field yourself, or other people's work, I shouldn't just say writing, but other people's books, as you're in this creative field.
As an artist, the art. I'm first and foremost. This is an art. It's a format for art. It's that's what drives me. That's what it has to be. It's the art. I mean, this is why I'm here. It's a visual storytelling. Without it, it'd just be a book. So it's the art for me.
Oh, that was quick. I think for me, just because like when you wear many hats as like a writer and an artist and a creator, something I learned in this field, and just doing this, it's hard to be original, but I guess something came from something. You know what I'm saying? Like let's be honest, the Shadow came from Zorro, Batman came from the Shadow. Like you always, you know what I'm saying? You always gonna find yourself, in the trickle down effect of something coming from something. So I guess when I look in other people's work, I guess like, especially if I know my certain stories or certain characters, like, okay, this is a vigilante. Like, I think like Danny Quick's like Ace Blade. Like I read that and I be like, okay, Ace Blade is doing that. I don't want to drop Afro Avenger. He be doing the same thing. So it's like, now I got to try to like find another creative bridge to like, be different, but also don't make my character look like, over extraordinary to what I built them as. So it's like, I think I look at things like just from a writing perspective and just like, just trying to be different in a world where like the brush is so broad, where like, what I'm saying? Like, it's easy, like, you have people like, oh, I've seen this before, or, oh, that's just the black, Catwoman, or, what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So it's like, I think it's just looking for that aspect of just trying to be different.
I know for me, I'm definitely, when it comes to comics and most things, style over substance. Like my man, William said, like if the art has to be good. Like if the art isn't good, I'm not even going to be able to stick around to even see what the writing is like. And so I'm always looking for something that's different, something that's unique. Just because it is a visual format, and yeah, that's what I look for. And when you get a book that has art and the writing, then that's incredible. That's an incredible combination. But the art is always what's going to hook me in.
What do I look for? Well, I guess kind of understand. I'm a father of 3 young African warriors. So many times I'm looking for what I can use to help them see themselves as great. So art and story becomes important, right? Because someone can, look like T'Challa, but then talk like Trump inside. People are crazy. You know what I mean? You never know what that combination of, superhero means for anybody. So a lot of times, and I know that sounds a little a little pragmatic. Oh, what can you use? Do you enjoy it? I definitely enjoy it. I definitely look for things that I can enjoy story wise and art wise. And like everybody on the panel said, sometimes the writing can be stronger than the art, and so I'll enjoy it for that. And then sometimes the artwork is a little bit stronger than the writing, so I'll enjoy it for that. But if I have to say something overall, is I'm looking to be more aware of those works that are helping to push the needle of what Black comics can be or should be, if I can say that. You know what I mean? So if I see someone's work, everyone here has great work. So it's no question, whether or not they can move things forward. But are there other people out there that I can give some shine to? I can give some love to as well. I love to do that. So that's what I'm looking for. Work that's going to help move the progression of the movement.
Yeah, I look for the art and I stay for the writing. Because at the end of the day, no matter how pretty it is, if that writing is trash, after a while you're gonna be like, what is going on here? What am I doing? It's gonna be, I guess overall I would say fearlessness. You know what I mean? So because I can deal with some art that's not industry standard, but it's fresh, it's different, it's, you know what I mean? It gives me like a unique experience. And you could see like the artist isn't worried about like, oh, I was supposed to use a ruler here. He was just going off of energy, you know what I mean? And the writers, like the writing is like, like something, I didn't think of that. You know what I mean? Something that makes me as a creator want to be like, oh man, I should have came up with that idea. Or how did they do that? You know what I mean? How did they form that? Like, that's what I want, that fearlessness of like, how is he going to kill that character? What? You know what I mean? Like that's what gets me revved up. Just a fearlessness of, and you're indie. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to do the Marvel DC stuff, and this character is going to come back and stuff. You can change your story however you want. You can kill off characters. You know what I mean? So it's like I look for people that really embrace the independent mentality of like, this is mine. I can do whatever I want with it. That's what really gets me going.
Very good, guys. Like I love nights like this. I think we only asked 3 official questions, but we filled an hour with great conversation. It's a great night as a host when you can just sit back and let the conversation flow. This has been an amazing night. I do want to remind everybody we are here for Heruary. If you don't know about it, look it up on Instagram, the official Heruary. Excuse me. You find the prompt list. I'm going to pop the prompt list up right now so everybody can see the 2022 prompt list, because it started today. Today's the first day of it, and so the first one is Eben, and then it just goes on and on from there. So many great names on this list this year. Every year I'm just blown away with the names on the list. So check it out. Everybody here that they've been featured or done art with it helped cultivate the list. And so, gentlemen, I want to say a deep thank you to each of you for being here tonight, taking the time to be here. We've dropped each of your links in the comment section. So if you're out there watching this and want to know more about any of these gentlemen and their creations, the links are in the comment section on Facebook and YouTube both, and we'll put them in the podcast notes when we post the podcast too. Before we go, let's take a moment just to give a shout out to another creator. Anybody you wanted to give a shout out to recognize while we're still live? Kevin, not to put you on the spot, but we'll start with you.
Oh, okay. I mean, it is what it is. The one person I want to shout out, man, I definitely want to shout out people from my hometown, man. You got Nigel Carrington, who does the Anthill Star Skill Studios, Darius Johnson, who's coming out with a book, The Reigns of Terror. Please look out for him. And then obviously Danny, Quick with, the Ace Blade and how big that thing is moving, man. And just, give a shout out and look those guys up, man. Like definitely some great works and great things coming in the future.
Did not know Nigel was from your hometown, fam. That's my boy.
Yeah, man, that's my man.
My Trini brethren. So I want to give a shout out to the, my whole street team crew. James, Stan, Joe, Karan, Chuck, You know, they killing it out here. Shout out to Dave Rucker for Decimation Earth Studios and the Concrete Crew. Big stuff coming with them. And shout out to Will, aka Black Jack. Can't stand him. I hate him. Every year he makes Heruary look easy. I don't know how he does it.
I don't know how he does it either. He must have like a robotic arm or something.
I don't get it.
Cyborg. I mean,
he's a clone or something. I don't know.
He's cranking this stuff out like nothing.
I don't know if he bribes Aaron and gets the list like 6 months early. I don't know what he does. But, sick of him.
Yeah, the only person I want to give a shout out to right now is my boy, Four Corners Collective crew member is Sheldon Mitchell out with Stranger Comics. He's doing big things. He's been a partner in crime since we were in college together, and he to crush it. He's my person that I look to. Like he gotta get moving up. He's stepping his game, but I gotta step my game up. So Sheldon Mitchell, Stranger Comics, keep doing it there.
Yeah, shout out to Durante Avaloy, Avaloy Studios. That's my business partner with the whole Day Black animated aspect. We got some things going on and will be announced this year. So shout out to him. Shout out to Shamari Simmons. That's a high school buddy of mine that has a new book called Lil Shoe and Them. I think it is a children's book or a children's web series. It's called Lil Shoe and Them. Shamari Simmons, and also my man Alfred Stewart, who has a new book called Isho, which I believe is a manga, but he's getting some leeway in it or some headway in it. So yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to my man Loriata, another tattoo brethren in Atlanta. He just had a solo art show that's still up. So if you're there, check it out. And that's it.
Yeah. You know, it's too many people to name, as you guys already know, but definitely want to give a shout out to Stacy, who's been on the call. He might as well have been on the panel. Stacy,
he should have been.
That's my man.
What up, Stacy?
Love you, brother. Love you, Stacy. But yeah, phenomenal artist and professor. His work is always outstanding. So we're always looking for more of his pieces, whether they're books or whether they're just straight artwork for galleries. It's just amazing artist. And then I'm gonna kind of change a little bit. I'd like to give a shout out to my brother Maurice Waters. I think he was mentioned already by Shawn Alleyne. He's the owner of BlackSci-Fi.com. Yeah, just an amazing organizer, writer, a creator in his own right, but he's also interested in networking and getting the word out about creatives like ourselves. And then I just want to give a shout out to all of those individuals and groups that are creating spaces like you guys, that are allowing allowing a platform for people like us to speak, but also to express ourselves and also tell the backstory. The story behind the pages, which is very important. I mean, how many of us kind of, run to our TV sets and YouTube, to kind of get more insight to what Stan Lee was thinking or what, Mark Silvestri was thinking. You know what I mean? Those things are what helps build us when you get to see the back end. Who are these artists at home? And how did they actually do this? So we can do it ourselves. So shout out to Indie Comics Dispatch for allowing us to be here. And again, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you guys again. Brian, you want to close with anything?
Yeah, before we go, I just want to say, check out Morgan Iverson. He's got Lumberjacks. It's on Kickstarter right now. He's from Fourth Wall Comics, along with Danny and Wooly. So those guys are really, really doing great stuff. Also, Tony Cottrell for Advent Comics just launched Cosmos #6 on Kickstarter. So obviously go check those guys out too. Tony is a really, really great guy, great indie advocate, a great community guy, great mentor to me as well. So those are my shout outs.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, everybody, thank you again for being here. And I agree, Stacy. We try to beat the shiz. We don't always hit the mark, but we try really hard. So everybody, thank you so much again for being here tonight. Thank you for taking the time to be here. If again, even if you can't draw, just try the prompt list. I'm a horrible drawer, and I may attempt the prompt list. And if you can't just do anything but like and share for Heruary, go over to Instagram and do that. Repost their stuff. Get more people, get eyes on this. It's a wonderful list every year, and I just wish everybody here the best of success and Heruary to just grow and expand, and to be at the point one year where they won't book on shows like ours because they're too big. So
shout out to Aaron. Shout out to Aaron for the
yes.
There you go, brother.
Shout out to Aaron. Thank you, Aaron.
All right, everybody. We'll be back next Tuesday. More details on that later. But we'll same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you guys again. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.